It's now Tuesday, right after Memorial Day, and I'm reflecting back on the weekend. Memorial Day is an interesting holiday to me. It's one of both remembrance and celebration. Those two things usually tend to play out in very opposing ways. You'd think that that would cause a kind of dissonance throughout the weekend, and it kind of does. While filming this, I began reviewing the footage and started to wonder how I was going to combine the times of celebration and the times of remembrance in a harmonious way. Kind of like the nature of the weekend, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'm going to try. So here it is, a glimpse into how Memorial Day is observed in Newberg. Beginning Friday afternoon and going through Saturday evening, Boy Scout Troop 520 puts on their annual curbside pickup barbecue chicken event. Let me tell you, these guys know how to barbecue chicken. They also know how to dance.
Well, if I had money, I would tell you what to do. Go downtown, buy a Mercury or two. Crazy about a Mercury.
We do this every year as our main fundraiser for funding all of our campouts and special trips and activities, summer camps. And it funds us for the whole year. It's been a tradition for our troop for about probably 10 years. Get here about 6 o'clock to start up the grills, start the cooking about 7 o'clock to try to stay ahead of the rush. Let some of our older scouts try the grilling, so it's a lot of fun just to teach them how to do it.
While the majority of folks are still in their beds Saturday morning, the Boy Scouts of Troop 265 are up early, honoring the veterans who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our nation's freedom. They do this by heading out to the cemeteries in town and placing U.S. flags above the veterans' graves. I had the privilege of being invited out by retired Scoutmaster David Carroll to capture it on film. My day was already booked up, but I didn't want to miss out on this awesome opportunity, so I took him up on it. Here's David now explaining the Scouts' traditions.
Boy Scout Troop 265 has been doing this since about 1950. The reason we do this is to honor our veterans for the service that they have done to our country. They feel a sense of pride coming out here and saying thank you to our servicemen and women. These boys and girls get to learn that at this age.
I love seeing our up-and-coming generation learn to respect the men and women that served our country. It wouldn't be an American holiday without loud engines and good old-fashioned racing. Boat racing, to be exact. This year marked the 69th annual boat races that took place in Newberg down at Rogers Landing Boat Launch. Rogers Landing gets shut down every year to allow for the boat races to take place. That's actually a really good PSA. When I was on my way out of the boat races, I saw a sad few who were on their way in with their boats in tow, ready for a fun afternoon, only to be turned away. So, if you're planning on having your boat out for the weekend, find a different boat launch. If you're one to fancy it up a bit, check out Memorial Weekend in the Valley. Over 150 different vineyards are holding special events and tastings. On an excellent recommendation, I paid a visit to Furioso Vineyards, or more accurately, Furioso Vineyards. Dundee's newest winery, but interestingly enough, they have some of the oldest grapevines in the valley. That makes Furioso home to some amazing wine. It's also home to some even more amazing people. With its winemaker Dominique pouring his wine for me to taste, I felt a bit out of my league.
14, L'Altra Furioso, which is all the wines we have here today is probably the boldest, the more masculine. It has more tannins, lots of power in this wine. It's a very bold, very rich, very powerful wine.
I'm the first to admit that my palate for distinguishing wine is not up to snuff, proven by the fact that I just used wine and snuff in the same sentence. Dominique and the tasting room staff were incredibly gracious with me and made me feel right at home. After tasting 2 of their 2014s and 2 of their 2015s, I managed to sneak my way into a private barrel tasting where we were trying out the 2016s that are currently in the aging process.
Oaks works really, really well, and I really like again the aromatics on this wine. Yeah, it's a 1-year-old, so it's not neutral, but it has a little bit of influence from the oak, really.
Let's just say I'm looking forward to their release. After that, I spent some time on their deck listening to a classical guitarist while taking in one of the most breathtaking views of the Chehalem Valley. Monday morning, a ceremony is held at Memorial Park where the veterans of Newberg who served in various wars are remembered. I understand that right now we live in a political climate that's highly divided. Generally, I'm one to avoid extremes in any circumstance. It's not always the case, but more often than not, there is truth in the beliefs of people on both sides of the aisle. One thing I know for sure is the reason we're able to choose our own beliefs instead of having them forced upon us, the reason we don't have to constantly look over our shoulder and watch our backs, the reason that our mortality isn't on the forefront of our minds like it is for some of our brothers and sisters in other countries, is because of the men and women who gave up their lives to serve and protect this nation. As Yamhill County Commissioner Rick Olson so eloquently put it, these men and women wrote a blank check to this nation, which included for many of them paying the ultimate price, their own life. That is what Memorial Day is all about. It's a time to thank and remember those who gave up their lives and their freedom to protect ours. It's also a time to celebrate the fact that that freedom is a part of each of our lives. To all those who have served, thank you.